Hey there, I have a fun one for you today that doesn't sound like it's fun at all, I promise. It's going to be kind of about what happens when you think that you're either not good enough for something or that you're not starting something because you're afraid that you might just fail at it. So hang on, I've got a couple stories for you and a couple of things to share. Thanks for being here today. Hey, Brad, can you get rid of that thanks for being here today? So I want to start today by telling you a story. And you'll find that a lot of my stories are the stories about things that I did that probably weren't the right thing to do. But what I find is that when someone realizes that starting out and doing something that isn't the right way to do it, Brad, let me start over. Let me just start over from after the intro. So I want to start out with a story today. And it's a story about a fail, but in the end, you're going to say, is it a fail? Because to me, it actually wasn't, but it looked a whole lot like one. So just recently, I decided that I was going to do a 25K, and I am not a runner. But what happened was I was talking to a friend of mine who does these 25Ks all the time. And you may have heard me mention this before. And she said, oh, I don't run, I speed hike. And I'm like, you do what? And she said, I speed hike. And I'm like, well, I can speed hike. I mean, what the hell? Let's do this thing. And because I've always, always, always wanted to be one of those people who drive around with that little 25K stuck on the back of their car. Like that's my thing. Always has been. In fact, tell a total tale on myself. I bought some of those stickers about probably 8 years ago, and I've been waiting for them so I could put them on my car, right? So I've got this 25K that I have signed up for. And I know I know how to do I know how to do races, right? I've done them. I've done a lot of races. So I know that you train. I know that you figure out what the terrain is going to be like. I know that you pay attention to the weather. This is what I do, right? So I know all the things. And I didn't do any of the things, none of them. I think I trained maybe 2 times. So, like, it wasn't that I didn't want to, okay? Just in all fairness, it wasn't that I didn't want to. I was traveling. We had torrential rainstorms in Houston and the trails were a mess. I got a cold and so I wasn't going to go train. I had all these excuses. But I kept thinking, how bad could it be? Like, really, how bad could it be? I can do this without any trouble. So, not to go into all the nuances, but I will tell you some of the highlights. The highlights are I show up and I haven't even paid attention to the fact that it starts at 7 in the morning and it's dark. Like, this is how unprepared I was for this. So it's dark. I have no flashlight. I have no headlamp. I'm like, okay, well, that's not a problem because Phil has decided to do it with me and he's trying to get registered. So, the sun's coming up. So whatever. So I wait and I don't start until, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes after my pack starts. I also just assume that there's a chip so that that chip is going to start working when I start moving. But no, the timing starts at 7 o'clock, whether or not you're sitting around like drinking another cup of coffee, waiting for it to get light. And so, I was like, whatever, I'm here to just do this thing. I hadn't checked the trail, hadn't even looked at it. Well, it was a little bit more than I was expecting. It was a little more technical. There were a lot more stairs. There were a lot more ups and downs. There was a lot more to this than I expected. It was a little bit longer than I expected. It ended up coming out to be about 16 miles, which still isn't that big a deal for me. But I'm doing it. It's 3 loops. So the first loop, I'm out there and I am doing it. Like I'm on fire. I may be late, but I'm on fire. And my time is really good. It's below what I'm looking for. And I finish this first loop and thinking, that is a little harder than I was expecting, but whatever. Start the second loop. My feet start hurting. Okay. So I tell you all the time, never do something new before a race. Well, somewhere before this race, I realized that I needed some padding in the shoes I wear. They don't have any padding in them. And so I ordered some insoles. They didn't come. So I was out there without padding. So at this point, second loop, I'm thinking people are passing me, like they're definitely passing me. And they've got these hookahs on with these big, thick soles. And I'm like, wow, what I'd give for a pair of those right now. Finish second one, get to the third one. The third loop is, it. Quite frankly, I sucked. There was no doubt about it. I sucked. But I finished. End of story. I finished. Now, did I put that 25K on the back of my car? No, I don't think I really deserved it. But what this story is really about is the fact that, you know what? I know what to do. I know what to do when I want to accomplish something. Maybe I didn't do all the things that I needed to do. But what worries me is sometimes I work with people and they'll say to me, I would like to do X, but I'm afraid I won't be able to do X. So I don't want to fail. Like, I don't want to fail trying. And I don't want to start because I'm afraid that, I won't be able to do what I said I'd do. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a race. It could be lose weight. It could be start anew. It just doesn't matter what it is. It's any of those things. And in not starting, in not being willing to like flop totally, like have your third loop be amazingly slow, in not being willing to do that, you're cutting yourself off from some things that might be amazing. Okay? Might be amazing for you. So I would love to think about, and for all of my friends out there, this is for a whole bunch of people that I've talked to lately who had a race, had a goal, had something that they would like to accomplish, and they're really, really, really worried that they won't be able to do it or they won't be able to do it well. I think there's a lot to be said for just doing, like just doing, right? And if you haven't done it well when you get finished, then what you do have is you have a baseline. Because having a baseline tells you a whole lot about, what you should do differently next time or how you should approach it in the future. Um, one of my clients has had some injuries, not even injuries, just some sickness lately. And she wants to make this next race that she's doing faster than the last one. May or may not happen, quite frankly. I mean, she's been out for 6 weeks. So she doesn't even want to do the race because, and this isn't all about races, guys. I just happen to be using this example right now. She doesn't really even want to do the race because she's afraid that she might be slower than she was last time. And that would be a fail. But it's not a fail. It's just information, right? It's just information. And it's, in a way, it's just adventure. Like, you get to do something, whatever it is. Maybe it's, what is it? Losing weight. So what? You decide you want to lose some weight and you work at it for 6 weeks. And at the end of 6 weeks, you realize that, you didn't change a lot of habits and maybe you only lost 1 or 2 pounds. But you know what? That's information. That's enough to tell you that next time you need to be doing something different. Or people who do like the sugar and wine challenge with me. And then after a week or 2 weeks or whatever, they're like, I failed. I had dessert. I had a glass of champagne. I had whatever it was. You know what? It's not a fail. It's just information. And so for all of my friends out there who are maybe they expect like really, really big things out of themselves, which I think we should. I think we should all expect really big things out of ourselves and then be willing to understand that whatever we do, it's happened. And all we need to do is try something new if it wasn't what we wanted. But you know what? Think of how many times, I go back to so many times when I've taken people on like a hiking adventure. And generally speaking, there's some percentage of the group that are concerned that they're going to be able, whether or not they'll be able to keep up, right? Whether or not they're going to be able to do the thing. we train, we practice. Since they're working with me and I'm working with them, we're actually doing this instead of me talking about it for myself. They know what they need to know. They learn their gear. They learn everything they need to know. They're prepared. And then when they get there, they just have this amazing time. And so I would just so highly, highly say, if you're not starting something for fear of either not being perfect at it, failing at it, not doing as well as you've done in the past, then stop, reframe. Okay. Reframe. Consider, okay, all this is a learning experience and an adventure, whatever it is, it's something new, right? And then just go do it. And if you don't know how to do it, then just get as prepared as you can prepare it. Like, get a coach, look on the internet, talk to people who have already done it, find out all the information that you need, and then just do the things that you need to do to be able to go out and do it. And if if for some reason you quit in the middle of whatever it is that you're doing, whether you quit in the middle of a sugar challenge or you quit in the middle of a race or you quit in the middle of a weight loss, then just stop, reframe, tell yourself that it's not a fail, it's a learn. It's something that you've learned, and then just start again because that's what life is. It's just like learning, figuring out what works, what doesn't, and then starting again. And sometimes we're just like, we hit it out of the ballpark and we nail that first time we do something. And sometimes we have to try a few times. So if you're one of those people who right now is worrying about starting for fear of failing or for fear that you might not be able to do as well as you've done something before, then just do me a favor and just do it. And then let me know because I really want to hear how it worked out for you. And I will let you know the next time I do a race and I actually follow my own advice. So thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful day. Big, big hugs to everybody. Bye-bye now.